Trading212 have just launched a new investing pie called Vanguard Global. It's an investment that I think could be a popular one, seeing as Vanguard are one of the world's largest asset managers, second to that of only BlackRock. So with that in mind, in today's video we're going to cover off the following: what the pie is and what it includes, how to invest in the pie, the associated risks and rewards, and potential limitations of the pie. So if that sounds good to you, then be sure to stick around. But as always guys, this video is for educational purposes only and should not be construed as financial advice. The value of your investments may go up as well as down, and when you're investing, your capital is at risk. Nothing that I share in this video is an investment recommendation, and please be sure to always do your own research before you make any kind of investment decision. Now, for those new to Trading212, your pie is just like another way of saying your investment portfolio. And actually within the app, if you select the new pie feature, you've got three different options available. You've got Trading212's model pies, you've also got social pies from those within the Trading212 community, and then you've also got a custom pie if you want to build out your own investment portfolio. With the model pies though, these are from companies that Trading212 have partnered up with. So we've got the Vanguard Global one, which we're going to discuss today. You've got the BlackRock Core, and then you've got a few others from Wisdom Tree too. If we click into the Vanguard Global Pie, you can see that its objective is to seek to generate long-term capital growth with a market cap weighted approach to capture exposure across markets globally. In a nutshell, if we scroll down, it's a collection of 6 different Vanguard ETFs which have been put together to create global equity market exposure, along with a little bit of exposure to the bond market too, depending on your risk tolerance. And depending on an investor's risk appetite, there are 4 different options available. First off, you've got the conservative pie, which works out to be 20% exposure to stocks and 80% exposure to bonds. You've got moderate, which is a 50-50 allocation. Then you've got assertive, which is 70% stocks and 30% bonds. And then finally, an aggressive allocation, which is 90% stocks and 10% bonds. To achieve this desired asset allocation, the weightings of the individual funds differ for each category of risk to be able to achieve the desired asset allocation. This is important to note because each investor is different and each investor will have their own individual risk appetite. Now, theoretically, the higher the allocation towards stocks, the higher the risk and potentially higher volatility that a portfolio will experience, with bond exposure having the inverse effect. To explain the relationship between risk and reward a little bit better, I found a report called Understanding Investment Risk and Return. And in it, they shared a theoretical diagram to explain the concept. It shows that a lower risk investment, like bonds, will typically have lower returns, but also lower downside in unfavorable market conditions, versus a higher risk investment like stocks, which may have higher upside, but the potential for higher downside too in adverse market conditions. Whilst this is good conceptually, it is theoretical, so it does have its limitations because in reality, things can be a little bit different. For example, the bond market collapsed in 2022, providing a far greater negative return than your traditional higher risk asset classes. Nonetheless, that's certainly the intent behind creating an investment portfolio with risk appetite in mind. But of course, do be mindful that all investments do carry risk, regardless of whether they're traditionally seen to be low risk or not. So now let's dive into a little bit more of the detail of these 6 individual funds that make up the Vanguard Global Pie. But before we do that, guys, Trading212 have kindly offered all of my subscribers one free fractional share valued up to £100 when you click on the link down in the description below and open an account. Or alternatively, if you have opened an account within the past 10 days, you can enter the promo code Mitch within the app and you'll still qualify for that one free fractional share valued up to £100. So thanks for Trading212 for sponsoring this video, and now let's talk about some of those ETFs. First up, we have the Vanguard FTSE North America ETF with the ticker symbol VNRG. The objective of this fund is to track the performance of the FTSE North America Index, which is comprised of 586 large-sized company stocks in North America. The fund is basically a US and a Canada fund essentially, with 96% exposure of it towards US equities, such as Apple, Amazon and Meta, all of the big names that you'd probably expect, with a 4% exposure to Canadian stocks. Because this is an all-equity fund, it has a risk rating of 6 out of 7 on Vanguard's risk spectrum. Now, when we look at performance, because it's predominantly largely a US equity-weighted fund, well, actually it's performed pretty well in 2024, providing rate of return to investors of 24.27%. However, as this is a pure equity fund, it can be quite volatile too. Within 2022, it was actually down by 19.26%. But overall, we've got a big tick in the box for equity market exposure across the US and Canada. Next up, we've got the Vanguard Global Aggregate Fund with the ticker symbol VAGS. This fund invests in a representative sample of bonds included in the Bloomberg Global Aggregate Float Adjusted and Scaled Index, which is a little bit of a mouthful, in order to closely match the index's capital and income return. The fund holds 11,821 bonds with a risk score of 4 out of 7. So it would certainly be deemed to be a far lower risk fund than the equity fund which we just spoke about. In terms of the quality of these bonds, well, they're both investment grade and government bonds. And if we look at the credit rating of them, well, 82.4% of the bonds within this fund are of an A credit rating or above. The distribution yield on this fund right now is 3.34%, but as it's an accumulation fund, that income which would have been distributed is actually reinvested back into the fund instead. In terms of overall performance, well, it's been fairly stable in terms of returns, as you'd probably expect, with the exception of 2022, where the bond market obviously collapsed, as we've spoken about, but as at last year, it provided capital returns of 2.22%. Next up, we've got the Vanguard FTSE Developed Europe Fund with the ticker symbol VEUA. This fund is comprised of large and mid-sized company stocks in developed markets in Europe. It has 532 stocks in total and has a risk score of 6 out of 7, reflecting its equity market exposure. The fund's biggest exposure by country are across the UK, France, Germany and Switzerland, with some of the top companies in this fund being SAP, Nestle, ASML, Roche, if I've pronounced that correctly, and Shell. In terms of performance, well, last year this fund provided a rate of return of 9.37% to investors, but returns have been mixed over the past few years. Then we've got the Vanguard FTSE Emerging Market ETF with the ticker symbol VFEG. This fund is comprised of large and mid-sized companies across emerging markets. It contains a whopping 2,237 stocks with a risk score of 6 out of 7. The fund's main exposure is across China, India and Taiwan, making up just over 73% of the fund's allocation, with just 3 of the 2,237 stocks making up about 18% of the total fund exposure, being across Taiwan Semiconductor, Tencent Holdings and Alibaba Group. In terms of performance, it has been fairly mixed, with last year's returns being 12.06%, but these of course have fluctuated over the years. The penultimate fund being the Vanguard FTSE Japan ETF with the ticker symbol VJPB. This fund is comprised of large and mid-sized companies in Japan with 487 stocks with a risk score of 6 out of 7. As you'd expect, this is a 100% Japanese fund, with the top holdings being in Toyota, Mitsubishi, Sony and Hitachi. In terms of overall performance, well, in 2024 it provided a rate of return of 7.67%, with most recent years being positive with the exception of 2022, which seemed to be bad for many different asset classes and every fund that we've discussed so far in today's video. Then finally, we've got the Vanguard FTSE Developed Asia Pacific, excluding Japan ETF, with the ticker symbol of VDPG. This fund is comprised of large and mid-sized companies in developed markets in Asia and the Pacific region, but excludes Japan. There are 365 stocks in this fund with a risk rating of 6 out of 7. The main exposure here by country is across Australia, South Korea, Hong Kong and Singapore, with the top holdings being in the likes of Samsung, the Commonwealth Bank of Australia, BHP Group, and some other companies which, if I'm honest, I've never heard of before. In terms of performance, well, in 2024, the fund provided a rate of return of minus 5.67%, which is a bit of an adverse performance compared to some of the other equity market funds that we've discussed so far. But then again, most of the other years were positive, with 2022 being the exception. So that's all of the funds, of which I've summarized the following. Investors are getting exposure to global equity markets, which, as far as I can tell, without seeing any overall duplication or overlap within the individual funds. Secondly, investors can get a varying degree of exposure to the bond market depending on their risk appetite, which I think is really cool to be able to select what your risk appetite is to adjust that overall exposure to the bond market. But with that being said, obviously that bond market position can also provide traditionally more stable returns that possibly creates a little bit more of a lower volatility investment portfolio too. However, the other observation that I have and the potential limitation of this fund is that it's potentially been over-engineered, if you like, in order to gain that kind of global equity market exposure, especially when we consider there are other global equity market trackers Vanguard themselves have one in the Vanguard FTSE All World Fund, which still gives a weighted exposure to the global stock market with 3,625 stocks within it. That compares to the 4,207 stocks combined across all of these funds, which we've just discussed. There are, of course, other global equity market trackers out there, but that was just one observation. I wonder whether it would be more simple to just potentially have one global equity market tracking fund within a portfolio rather than multiple. Finally, there are two other important things that I want to discuss about this Vanguard Global Pie. Firstly is the total expense ratio. Now, for the conservative fund, it has a total expense ratio of 0.1%. And as you go up through the risk appetite to an aggressive fund, it adjusts slightly. It's slightly higher at 0.12%. But nonetheless, it's still considered as kind of a low-cost ETF. I found an article from Charles Schwab which actually states generally a low-cost ETF will have a net expense ratio of no more than 0.25%. So if a fund has an expense ratio less than that, it's widely considered as a low-cost ETF. The second thing is this fund's overall performance, and of course that obviously changes depending on the risk appetite that you have. And of course, past performance isn't always indicative of future results. But you can see if I click into the pie on screen and click learn more, you can see that there is an average annual rate of return, which is the weighted average of the 5-year annualized return of each of its slices, i.e. each individual component of the pie. So for the conservative pie, it has an annual average rate of return over 5 years of 1.56%. For moderate, it jumps to 5.25%. For assertive, it jumps again to 7.7%. And for aggressive, it jumps to 10.15%. Do take these numbers more of a guide though, rather than a guarantee, because of course, nothing is guaranteed when you're investing. So be sure to let me know what your thoughts are on the Vanguard Global Pie down in the comment section below. But before you go, if you want to learn how to construct an investment portfolio for long-term growth, then be sure to check out that video next. With that being said, see you over in the next one.